Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Stephanie Cox. A historic ruling in Israel today. The military has to start drafting ultra-orthodox men. Israelis are divided on the decision. Arian Pazdar has the Middle East update. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange lands in Bangkok. What's next for him after a 14-year legal saga? Plus, his wife speaks out. Lawmakers are set to vote on sanctioning the Chinese regime's forced organ harvesting, dubbed the Falun Gong Protection Act. It's the first of its kind to go after China's persecution of these prisoners of conscience. In Oklahoma, the state Supreme Court rules against public funds for a religious charter school. We'll tell you what this means in the national debate on the separation of church and state. Levees breached in western Iowa, prompting evacuations and road closures. Severe storms with hail are still possible. Over 3 million travelers are expected in just one day at airports nationwide next week. As peak travel season arrives, we'll tell you what the TSA advises to beat the lines and make it on your plane. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is meeting his Israeli counterpart in Washington today. That's as controversy is taking hold of Israel. The military has to start drafting ultra-Orthodox men. NTD's international correspondent Arian Pazdar has the Israel update.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is meeting his Israeli counterpart in D.C. Now, the meeting comes as Israel plans to move troops from Gaza to the Lebanese border to tackle Hezbollah. But this plan, of course, is increasing concerns about a wider conflict in the region.
I am extremely concerned about the rise in rocket attacks on Israel's north from Lebanese Hezbollah and the recent surge in tensions.
Austin says that a war between Israel and Hezbollah could easily become a regional conflict. Israel's security advisor says they will spend weeks using diplomatic means to find a middle ground with the Iran-backed terrorist group. But if that doesn't work, they will use different methods to bring calm to the Israel-Lebanon border. The U.S. is calling on Israel to use diplomatic means. Meanwhile, in Israel, the Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled that the military must begin drafting ultra-Orthodox men. Israelis are divided.
We're at a time of war, and at a time of war, everyone has to take their part.
It's not a good decision, but why it's not a good decision? Because the army is not respect Haredi people. They don't respect it.
The historic ruling puts an end to a decades-old system that granted ultra-Orthodox men exemptions from military service. Arian Pazdar, NTD News.
Next, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is due to plead guilty this week to violating U.S. espionage law. The plea deal will end his imprisonment in Britain and allow him to return home to Australia, ending a long legal odyssey.
After 5 years fighting U.S. extradition from a top-security UK jail, Julian Assange appeared to be boarding a plane that WikiLeaks says is flying out of the United Kingdom in footage it released Tuesday. He's expected to appear in court on the island of Saipan Wednesday evening and plead guilty to violating U.S. espionage law in exchange for his freedom. WikiLeaks shared a video of Assange's wife, Stella, outside London's top-security Belmarsh prison. Julian was kept there since 2019, and she had made many visits over the years to see him.
This period of our lives, I'm confident now, has come to an end. And I think that by this time next week, Julian will be free.
Filings in the U.S. District Court for the Northern Mariana Islands say Julian Assange agreed to plead guilty to a single count of conspiring to obtain and disclose classified U.S. national defense documents. In 2010, WikiLeaks released hundreds of thousands of classified military documents on Washington's wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and troves of diplomatic cables. The court on Saipan is expected to sentence Assange to 62 months of time already served, crediting Assange's time in prison in London. This would let him avoid being imprisoned in the United States and be left free to return to Australia after the proceedings. Julian Assange's supporters have long criticized the use of charges typically levied against federal government employees in Assange's case, and press freedom advocates argue criminally charging Assange is a threat to free speech.
And the Treasury Department is sanctioning a group of people and businesses today for helping to fund Iran's military. The entities and individuals are involved in the sale of Iranian oil and petroleum products. This allows the Iranian military and regime to access the world's banking system. The Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control says the money funds known terror groups as well as Russia's drone attacks. Iran is accused of supplying Russia with drones in its invasion of Ukraine. The Treasury notes the sprawling shadow banking network involves people and financial institutions in Hong Kong, the United Arab Emirates, and the Marshall Islands. The Deputy Treasury Secretary says America will continue to pursue those who seek to finance Iran's destabilizing terrorist activities. In March of last year, the U.S. sanctioned more than 35 businesses with links to a shadow banking system. The system helped hide financial activity between sanctioned Iranian firms and their foreign buyers. And next, a bipartisan bill targeting the Chinese regime's decades-long persecution of a spiritual group is heading to the House floor today. The bill is called the Falun Gong Protection Act. NTD's Washington correspondent Jack Bradley joins us now from Capitol Hill. Jack, what would this bill do if it was passed?
Good afternoon, Steph. Well, this bill would sanction Chinese officials or anyone in alignment with the Chinese officials in the organ harvesting that's forced mostly, now we know, mostly on Falun Gong practitioners. It would also force the U.S. to cut ties with any organ trade involved in China. Falun Gong is a spiritual practice, and it's based on truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. It was practiced came to the public in 1992, and in 1999, there were about 100 million people practicing in China. That's when the leader of the Chinese regime at the time, Jiang Zemin, he launched a persecution against them, killing these practitioners, torturing them in prisons on a systematic basis, and then harvesting their organs for profit. Earlier I spoke to Congressman Ralph Norman about this bill. Take a look.
This is a tragedy of what our youth are facing with the drugs, but with the organ harvesting, it's intolerable.
Do you have any other thoughts for those still suffering in China today under the persecution of the regime?
Well, freedom is not free. We're realizing that now. We've got to fight for it. And just as the Chinese people are good people, but they're under a regime that's suppressing, we can't let that happen in America.
An independent tribunal back in 2019 found that the organ harvesting in China is still continuing on a significant scale, with the majority targeting the Falun Gong practitioners. On the state level, Texas, Utah, and Idaho have all passed laws that specifically target health insurance firms from funding China-originated organ transplants. The State Department in 2024 in their 2024 Trafficking in Persons report just released yesterday cited these concerns of organ harvesting forced on prisoners of conscience in China. It cited a 2021 statement from the UN affiliated human rights experts expressing alarm over how it, quote, appears to be targeting specific ethnic, linguistic, or religious minorities held in detention, often without being explained the reasons for arrest or given arrest warrants at different locations. And earlier I spoke to a senior staff official here at the House, and he told me that this bill may pass the House floor without a tallied vote, meaning that if there's just enough ayes, it could go ahead and pass right through. Steph, back to you.
All right, Jack, we'll be watching that. Thank you so much. Today, Attorney General Merrick Garland announced the opening of the Northeast Ohio Crime Gun Intelligence Center. As the name suggests, the hub will focus on gun-related crimes.
Through enhanced collaboration and advanced technology, CJICs help investigators generate leads to get shooters off the streets and dismantle the trafficking networks that supply violent criminals with their guns.
The initiative will connect people, police, and prosecutors at the local, state, and federal levels. Garland said that new technology will help with ballistic analysis and firearms tracing. The Attorney General added that the 2022 Safer Communities Act has led to charges against more than 500 defendants. The bill aims to prevent straw purchases and firearms trafficking. The Attorney General also criticized a Republican funding bill that would reduce the budget for the Department of Justice. GOP lawmakers have denounced the department for what they call political persecution against former President Trump. Next, how Hunter Biden's law license in Washington, D.C. has been suspended. This came after he was convicted of felony gun charges earlier this month. A court filing by the D.C. Court of Appeals says Hunter Biden is suspended immediately from the practice of law in Washington pending a resolution of this matter. The document says the Board on Professional Responsibility will issue a formal proceeding to determine the nature of the offense and that the first son has had a law license in D.C. since 2007. D.C. bar rules state that law licenses should be suspended for any felony regardless of any pending appeal. And the plan to give public funds to an Oklahoma religious charter school was ruled unconstitutional today by the state Supreme Court. The online school would have been the first in the nation to receive taxpayer dollars to operate.
The case involves St. Isidore of Seville Virtual Charter School. Last year, the Oklahoma Virtual Charter School Board gave the go-ahead for the school application by the Catholic Archdiocese of Oklahoma. The school was planning to open to students in grades K through 12 across the state this fall. The curriculum would include Catholic teachings. Oklahoma's governor and the state's school superintendent support the idea, but the state attorney general is against it. Opponents sued to prevent the school from being established. The state's high court says because charter schools are public schools, they must be non-sectarian. The case is part of a broader discourse on the separation of church and state across the country. In Louisiana, a lawsuit was filed Monday after state lawmakers voted to have the 10 Commandments posted in all public schools. It is so far the only state in the nation to do so.
We are pushing back in the strongest terms against the increasingly egregious attempts by the government officials to demolish the wall of separation in church and the wall of separation between church and state, and to use our public schools as a means to convert children to Christianity.
The plaintiffs argue the Louisiana law violates the First Amendment's ban on state-sponsored religion.
And floodwaters have breached levees in western Iowa, creating dangerous conditions and prompting widespread evacuations. This crisis unfolds as the region braces for another round of severe storms forecast for later today. The sheriff's office in Monona County near Sioux City reported that the Little Sioux River breached levees, prompting evacuations and road closures. No injuries have been reported. The flooding has damaged infrastructure and left many without power or safe water. Severe storms with hail, strong winds, and possible tornadoes are forecast for today in parts of western Iowa and eastern Nebraska. Showers and storms are also possible in parts of South Dakota and Minnesota. Flood warnings are expected to continue into the week. And it's summer travel season, and over 3 million passengers are expected to pass through airport security across the nation in a single day. It would be a new record. The TSA expects the stretch between Memorial Day and Labor Day weekend to be their busiest season ever. NTD's Fiona G. was at Newark Airport to find out more.
If you're planning on traveling this summer through any U.S. airport, be prepared for larger crowds and longer wait times. Airports nationwide are expecting a record-breaking number of travelers.
Just this past Sunday, TSA checkpoints across the United States screened 2.99 million passengers, which is the all-time record for TSA in our 22-year history this past Sunday. We do expect that this weekend we will exceed that and set a new record, and we'll exceed 3 million passengers screened through our checkpoints in a day.
To speed up check-in times and security check lines, airports such as Newark have installed new CT machines. These are X-ray systems that can create 3D images of everything inside your suitcase, which can then be rotated by an officer so they can see a 360-degree view of what you've got in there. The machines can help officers detect explosives even in liquids without ever having to open a suitcase. With the new technology, things like laptops, electronics, and small liquids can stay in passengers' bags instead of being taken out.
The good news here is When we're using that full capability and we're using that clear image, we can clear a lot more items of concern right on the screen without having to physically going into that bag.
And that helps with our wait times. It brings us down to less wait times as well, because you're able to thoroughly search the bag without having to take it out.
The TSA has its own website, app, and social media accounts where you can ask questions or find answers to make your check-in process go more smoothly. So if you're flying this summer, remember to know the rules, pack smart, and enjoy your trip. Fiona G., NTD News.
And next, drinking is a significant part of college culture, but many students find themselves ill-equipped to drink responsibly. Now, a new cocktail trending on social media is highlighting the risks of reckless alcohol consumption. NTD's Andrew Thomas speaks with a substance abuse expert to discuss the potentially dangerous consequences for young people.
Millions of Americans love to wet their whistle. According to a Gallup poll, more than 60% of adults in the U.S. drink to some degree. But according to addiction expert Irvin Lee, there's been a shift in drinking culture.
Now the pacing of the drinking has gone out the window. They are concerned about getting as much alcohol into their system as possible, which leads them to getting blackout drunk and over-consuming alcohol.
Lee has been sober for 8 years and 3 months. As a recovered alcoholic, he's familiar with the biological factor behind the disease. He says many college students aren't.
And what we need to realize is that a lot of the reason people fall into addiction is because of their genetic makeup. And a lot of these kids aren't aware that they're predisposed to alcoholism. So they're ultimately leading themselves down a road to destruction.
Blackout Rage gallons are the latest addition to the college drinking scene. Known on social media as Borg, the beverage is a mix of water, liquor, flavoring, and electrolytes. Health and substance abuse professionals say it's a dangerous cocktail.
What are the dangers of Blackout Rage gallons compared to traditional beer, wine, and liquor?
The greatest challenge with it is alcohol poisoning. And as it says, blackout. When you black out, you're not in control of yourself, your mind, your body. So anyone could take advantage of you. That, to me, is the danger.
Moderate drinking is largely socially acceptable in the U.S., so alcohol often escapes the scrutiny that other drugs face. But Lee believes booze should get the same attention, if not more.
We often in the world say that marijuana is the gateway drug. No, alcohol is the gateway drug. Because most of our teenagers now are interacting with it by high school, and they continue through college.
What can college students who are of legal drinking age do to drink responsibly?
If you don't see any consequences, what I would say to you is always consume in moderation. Pace yourself, eat before you drink, and don't overconsume it.
However, Lee says if drinking starts to lead to negative physical and personal consequences, it's worth considering abstinence from alcohol. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Coming up next, surveillance video captures the dramatic moment a lithium battery fire triggers a factory explosion. And automaker Ford is recalling more than 500,000 of its pickup trucks in the U.S. Find out what the potential hazard the company is fixing after the break.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day, just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. on food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one, get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one, get one free offer goes away.
Presenting the heritage of traditional Chinese martial arts, fostering martial ethics, and reviving the true tradition. Preliminaries of the 2024 NTD International Traditional Chinese Martial Arts Competition will be held across Germany, Taiwan, and New York. The grand finals will be broadcast live online worldwide in September 2024. For more information, please call 1-888-477-9228.
There's always a searching process for beauty. You know it when you see it.
Now the death toll of the South Korean lithium battery factory fire has raised to 23. Surveillance footage captures the harrowing moments.
Surveillance footage shows the moment a deadly fire started at a South Korean battery manufacturer and killed 23 workers on Monday. The video shows smoke coming from a stack of lithium batteries, and in a factory which contained around 35,000 of them, the fire quickly evolved into a huge blaze, which then sparked explosions. The now gutted structure was in Hwasong, an industrial cluster southwest of the capital, Seoul. Firefighters with search dogs combed the remains on Tuesday and found the body of the last unaccounted for person, raising the death toll to 23. The father of one victim, while trying to find the body of his Chinese national daughter, told Reuters she had called the batteries, quote, dangerous multiple times. And he said she had recently told him about another fire at the factory. Most of the victims are yet to be identified because of the intensity of the blaze, but at least 17 were Chinese and one was Laotian. Experts say foreign workers in the country face a disproportionate risk of injury and death, and that they take on dangerous jobs shunned by many young South Koreans. The National Forensic Service, police and the fire department are holding a joint investigation into the incident.
And Ford recalls thousands of its pickup trucks. And Snapchat has new tools to protect teens online. Here's NTD's Don Ma with today's Business Matters.
All right, thanks, Steph. Snapchat is working to make it harder for teens to be contacted on the app by people they don't know. It's the social media platform's latest effort to stop the sexual and financial exploitation scam known as sextortion. The company announced a new set of safety features today, and they include expanded warning pop-ups that appear when a teen gets a message from someone they don't share mutual friends with or have in their contacts. Teens will also get a warning message if they get a chat from a user who has been blocked or reported by others who is from a region where the teen's other contacts aren't located. Snapchat says those are signs the person may be a scammer. Ford is recalling more than 550,000 pickup trucks in the U.S. because the transmissions can unexpectedly downshift to first gear no matter how fast the trucks are going. The recall covers certain F-150 pickups from the 2014 model year. Ford's F-Series pickups are the top-selling vehicles in the U.S. Ford says in documents posted Tuesday by U.S. safety regulators that the downshifting can cause drivers to lose control of the trucks, increasing the risk of a crash. Also, Tesla is recalling over 11,000 Cybertruck electric pickup trucks, and this is due to a failure of the windshield wiper, and that could reduce visibility. This is according to the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The EV maker is also recalling another 11,000 units of the pickup truck, as a trim in the trunk bed could have been improperly attached, potentially becoming loose. The auto safety regulator said that excessive electrical current can cause the front windshield wiper motor controller to fail. The company's service team will replace the wiper motor free of charge for affected vehicles. The latest issues cannot be fixed remotely, but that being said, most issues related to Tesla recalls are usually resolved through over-the-air software updates. All right, that's all from me, Steph. Back to you.
Thank you, Don, and thank you for watching NTD Newsroom. I'm Stephanie Cox. We'll have more stories from the U.S. and around the world. Join Tiffany Meyer for the NTD Evening News at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific.